tonight. We've got a lot in store, a lot of great information. And again, we look forward to sharing it with you all and answering any questions that you may have. So again, we're going to jump right on into it. Tonight's agenda, you will just meet all of us, who we are. There are 4 counselors. We'll let you know how you can stay connected. Of course, we'll cover graduation and promotion requirements, transcripts, GPAs. I'm sure you've heard a lot about Georgia Futures, which is a website that your student will frequent quite often. Dual enrollment, which is a really hot topic that I know a lot of you guys want to delve more into. And then, of course, post-secondary plan.
To meet your school counselors, we have 4 of us on our team. I'm Ms. Ponticelli. I serve last names A through DE, and I am also the department chair. We have Ms. Hawk, who serves last names DH through K, Ms. Jordan, who serves last name L through Q, and Dr. White, who serves last name R through Z. She also helps support our dual enrollment students. So if your students have questions about that, they can come to their counselor, who is assigned by their last name first, and then Dr. White helps with the rest of the paperwork required for the colleges with dual enrollment. If you ever need to stay connected with us, we do recommend looking at our website first, sprayberrycounseling.com. All of our sessions that we are able to record will be posted on there, along with any classroom lessons for your students, as well as in our CTLS page. We also have a Instagram account, a Twitter account, and our YouTube account, which is where you can find our recordings as well. And we try to link everything through our Sprayberry link tree, which is linktree/Sprayberry Counseling. Students do have specific graduation requirements that they need to meet. They need a total of 23 credits. 4 of those credits are English credits, where they will be taking 9th grade literature and American literature by name. So if any student ever comes to us and they have not taken 9th lit somehow, but they might be a junior, they will be taking 9th lit to make sure that they have that on their transcript. We do also have 4 math requirements. Foundations of Algebra does not count for a 4-year college, but it does count towards your graduation. If you are planning to go to a 4-year college after high school, you will need a math beyond advanced algebra, or what used to be called Algebra 2, and Foundations of Algebra does not count for that college admissions requirement, but it does count for high school graduation. You also will need 4 science credits. You are required to have biology and physics or physical science, environmental science, or chemistry. That last science can be whatever you want it to be, but you do have some that are required by name, much like those English classes. And in social studies, they require a minimum of 3. You will take world history, US history, and economics and government. At Sprayberry, because we are on a block, those classes are taught in one class, where you have economics for the first half of the semester and government for the second half. Students are also required to take health and personal fitness. If they have 3 years of JROTC, that counts as the health and personal fitness requirement. But weightlifting and team sports does not. This is a class by name called health and personal fitness. Doing team sports or weightlifting does not exempt you from that credit that you need. Students also need 3 credits of either a CTAE elective, fine arts, or world language. That does not mean you need 3 of each. It just means that you can mix and match 3 of any of these. It can be 3 levels of a world language. It can be 3 levels of band. It does not matter which way you mix and match, but what does matter is if you are planning to go to a 4-year college right out of high school, you will have to take 2 levels of the same world language in order to be accepted for a 4-year college. So again, that's like that math requirement for the Foundations of Algebra does match for graduation, but does not for college admissions. You need the world language for college admissions, not necessarily for graduation. And then you also need a minimum of 4 general electives. These, of course, can be the team sports or the weightlifting. You have a potential of 32 credits in 4 years of high school as long as you are at Sprayberry and you are on a block schedule with us. So you should have plenty of time to meet the minimum of the 23 credits. Along with graduation requirements, there are promotion requirements. In order for a 9th grader to become a 10th grader, they need at least 5 credits, and they need an English, a math, and a science at a minimum, plus their 2 additional credits to make that 5. For 10th grade to 11th grade, you just double it. 2 English, 2 math, 2 science, plus 5 other additional credits. That brings us to the 11. And then for 11th grade to 12th grade, a minimum of 16 credits. You need that 2, 2, and 2 again, plus the basic other minimums. If for whatever reason your student makes 5 credits in 9th grade, but they do not have an English credit that they've earned, they will not be promoted to 10th grade. This is a county-wide policy. This is not something that Sprayberry does. This is something for everybody in the county. We are not able to promote if you do not meet the promotion requirements. So please make sure that you're really paying attention to what that means. This is where we talk about how to read a Cobb County transcript. All of your students did receive one on the first day of school or within those first couple of days during homeroom, but this is what's listed on it. They will always have demographic information. They will have the cumulative GPA, both a weighted and an unweighted, students' credits that are earned, student credits attempted. Those might be different depending on if they earned credits in middle school that came to high school, or if they took a class and did not pass that class, it will be listed under attempted rather than earned. Their EOC scores will be on the transcript. Your final grades are what is posted on the transcript. And there's also a list for your attendance on the transcript, both present year and the past years. If your student needs to obtain a transcript, they can simply come to the counseling office and ask for an unofficial transcript from Ms. Jenkins, or you can ask for an official transcript. This takes a little bit more process because we do have to put them in a sealed envelope or send them obviously to a college. If your student would need an official transcript, they have to complete certain steps. So they must make sure that if this is going to a college that they are applying to, that they have added that college to Naviance, and that they have paid $2 either in cash or on My Payments Plus. And then they need to come to the counseling office to fill out their transcript card. This can only be done in person, so they have to come to the counseling office in order to complete these steps. If they do not come and sign the transcript card, they have not completed all of the steps to have their transcript sent to the college. So please make sure that they complete all 3 steps. And just to make sure that we reiterate this every year, Cobb County in about 2019 or 2018 went away from class rank. They do not report class rank to any college. We are not able to provide class rank to students. So Cobb County, when this is listed on their college applications, falls under do not rank. Cobb County does not do any sort of class rank.
So let's talk about your HOPE GPA. So your HOPE GPA is different than your students' just cumulative weighted or unweighted GPA. This GPA is not listed on the Cobb County transcript, and it is based on your core academic classes, which includes world languages. In this, please know that AP and dual enrollment classes receive quality points for this calculation, and it's 0.5. So it's standard across the board, unlike us in Cobb, where we do 1 extra point for AP and then a half for honors. Again, with HOPE GPA, honor courses do not receive any quality points. It's just AP and dual enrollment. Middle school credits don't count, so kudos for knocking out physical science or perhaps even like a visual art or an algebra 1 class in 8th grade. However, that is not calculated into the HOPE GPA for those scholarship purposes. And again, the HOPE scholarship calculation does not round. So you must have a true 3.0 in order to qualify for the HOPE scholarship. But please visit gafutures.org to see what your HOPE GPA is. Your student should have an account. We'll get into that a little later, but ultimately it's calculated for you from the Georgia Student Finance Commission. So continuing with HOPE, there are rigor requirements. So in that, this is typically not something that's hard for our students to make sure they meet. But again, with the HOPE scholarship, a student must earn a minimum of 4 full rigor requirements, and that rigor is determined by the Georgia Student Finance Commission. Credits received for academic rigor must be from the categories below. So it has to be in advanced math or advanced algebra, which our juniors take, pre-cal, which a lot of our seniors take, advanced math decision making. Again, any AP math course can count. So again, our students typically meet those 4 rigor credits prior to graduation with no problem. Advanced sciences include physics, chemistry, or any AP science, advanced world languages. So anything level 2 or higher, it counts. And then of course, any AP or dual enrollment class can count as meeting that meeting that rigor requirement. But we've linked it down here, and we'll also make sure it's in our link tree, but you guys can access the complete list of academic rigor courses from the Georgia Futures website. So sticking with Georgia Futures, you will not see your HOPE GPA, your student will not see his or her HOPE GPA if we do not have their social security number on file at the school. So the Georgia Student Finance Commission are the ones who oversee the HOPE program and ultimately say, if we don't know who you are, if we cannot identify you from your social security number and your name, we're not giving you funds. So if your student receives this error message that you see at the bottom of the screen here, please know that that means we do not have their social security number on file. So the student must bring that card. A lot of folks just try to email us the number and say, here it is. We have to have the physical card to match the name to the number and put it in our system. So again, if you see this error message, please, please, please handle it by May for all of my seniors. The sooner you know where you stand in regards to the HOPE scholarship, the better off you are. So again, please be sure to get that social security card to us. Simply drop it by, or not even drop it, come by the counseling office. Miss Jenkins, our counseling clerk, will be sure to get that handled for you and get that in the system for your student. And again, folks might be like, what the heck is the HOPE scholarship? So what it is, it's the Georgia-based scholarship and it's merit-based. So HOPE scholarship, again, the student has to have a calculated 3.0 as calculated by the Georgia Student Finance Commission. It covers a percentage of the college tuition, and the student must maintain a 3.0 while in school. There is the ability to obtain HOPE. We get that question often. So if you don't have it initially out of high school, not a problem. It can be gained while in college after meeting the 30, 60, or 90 credit hour marks. Then the Zell Miller Scholarship is a little more to it because 100% of college tuition is covered for any public university in the state. It is a 3.7 core GPA as calculated by the Georgia Student Finance Commission. And there's also a testing component to it. So the testing component has to be a 1200 in a single sitting for the SAT or a composite score of 25 for the ACT. And that changes year to year. So it's important that you follow up directly on the Georgia Futures website to see what it is for that school year. One thing, student must maintain a 3.3, which is a little different than the HOPE scholarship once they're in college. And again, if you don't have this out of the gate coming from high school to college, you cannot get it. So it's a one-time shot coming out of high school, matriculating into college, that a student can get the Zell Miller Scholarship. And quickly, we'll talk about the Zell and HOPE grants. So these grants are specific to our Technical College System of Georgia schools. So those are our Chat Techs, our Gwinnett Techs, our Lanier Techs. So any student who's really working towards our certificate program or diploma program, there's no high school GPA requirement. but the student must maintain a 2.0 once in college to maintain that. And again, it covers a portion of the student's tuition with the Hope Grant, very similar to the Hope Scholarship and how it covers just a portion of that college tuition. And then with the Zell Miller Grant, again, same thing applies, that it has to be a TCSG school. But it also can be a University System of Georgia school. It just depends on the program and the degree that the student is seeking. Full-time enrollment's not required. And you don't have to have a specific GPA out of high school. But again, you have to have a minimum 3.5 once in college in order to maintain that. And then the Zell Miller award amount is standard to the undergraduate tuition rate. And that's just based on the school the student attends and the number of hours enrolled. But all this information can be found on the Georgia Futures website. So please, gafutures.org if you want more detailed information about the scholarships or the grants. And last but not least, let's talk about Georgia Match. So this was a new initiative rolled out by the state of Georgia last year. And so what it is, it's just a simple way for your student to know if they're eligible for college admission at the various universities within the state of Georgia. And that is based on his or her Hope GPA through 11th grade. So with that, it just says, hey, you'll receive a letter based on your GPA as calculated. These are the schools that we think you would, or that you would be admitted into should you apply. A lot of folks think that it's guaranteed, like, oh, when I get that letter, that means I've been admitted. No, the student must still apply to the university or college, but just know that you'll be getting an acceptance letter in response. So again, it's schools in Georgia only. It's really an initiative to get more students to attend schools in state, but it's a really cool initiative, again, that was started last year, and seniors can see where their matches are from going to their Georgia Futures dashboard. And now I am going to speak to the Georgia Futures website. Again, gafutures.org, y'all. There's a ton of benefits. So please familiarize yourself with that website. Again, Hope and Zell Miller, Hope GPAs. There's even scholarship searches, college planning, dual enrollment information. So once Dr. White finishes with her presentation and shows you everything there, if you still want to peruse, feel free to visit georgiafutures.org to see that dual enrollment information there. And I will now hand it over to Dr. White, who will go ahead and give you an overview of what dual enrollment is.
Okay, guys, I am going to talk about dual enrollment. So let me just move in. It's not letting me control. Oh, are you moving that, Miss Jordan? No. Hold on one second, guys. We're gonna try to figure out what is going on. Okay, there we go. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about dual enrollment. I am the counselor for dual enrollment. If you have basic questions, you need to reach out to your specific counselor. But once you are ready for dual enrollment, I am the counselor that you're going to work with. So what is dual enrollment? Dual enrollment is basically where instead of taking the class at the high school, you're going to take a class at the college and you're going to receive high school credit and college credit at the same time. This is really geared toward our 11th grade and 12th grade students because you have to be 16, you have to meet certain requirements depending on the college of interest. So most of our 10th graders would not qualify because you would have to sit for the SAT and score a 1200 on it before they would even consider you in 10th grade. So just being in 11th and 12th grade affords most students the opportunity to start dual enrollment if they're interested. So dual enrollment is free. It's paid for by the state. So when you come to school, you will get your books for free. You will obviously take the classes. There'll be no charge for the class. Things that you may have to pay for is, let's say you're taking cosmetology and you need makeup. The makeup stuff will cost money. And then of course, parking will cost money. So students that attend dual enrollment, they can earn up to 30 credits. So basically you're looking at if a student does dual enrollment for part of their junior year and for their entire senior year, they can graduate high school with 30 college credits. And that means they're no longer a freshman when they start college, that they will be a sophomore. Our students can go to any of the 2 or 4-year colleges. We usually have Chat Tech and KSU because those are the ones that are closest to us. Now, I will warn you that some of the colleges, like Georgia Tech, may want to see AP classes over dual enrollment classes. So it'll be your responsibility to figure out what that college is looking for. Now, if you're going to go to KSU and your core GPA is a 3.2, and Ms. Jordan said you could find your core GPA at gafutures.org, as long as that core is a 3.2, so that's your core classes plus world language, you can qualify to get into KSU without submitting any scores. But if your GPA is a 3.1 or lower, you need to submit PSAT or your SAT scores for KSU. There is no minimum GPA and no test scores required for Chat Tech. You also need to have transportation to the college. So there is no bus that's going to take you to dual enrollment. So that's something that you'll have to work out with the parents. Also, you cannot take your dual enrollment classes at Sprayberry. If you are a dual enrollment student, that means you are off campus. We don't have a room for the students to go to, so we don't have any adult supervision. And so that's going to prevent us from allowing you guys to stay on campus to take the classes. Like I said, with 30 credits, you would start college as a sophomore if you did full-time dual enrollment. And just remember that there are many deadlines for dual enrollment. You're going to have the college deadlines, you're going to have the high school deadline, and you're going to have Cobb County's deadline. So students need to be aware of all the deadlines because if you miss one, that's going to prevent you from participating in dual enrollment. Additionally, you have to be passing all of your current classes and you have to attend school regularly. If you don't, they're not going to allow you to participate in dual enrollment. Now, here's something that's kind of interesting. The Technical College System of Georgia, which is like your Chat Techs and Gwinnett Techs, they have an agreement with the 4-year college system. So there are 28 courses that you can take at, we'll just use Chat Tech for example, because it's close to us, that you can take at Chat Tech and they will transfer as is over to any of the 4-year colleges. So at the bottom, I listed like some examples. So if you take English 1101, that will go, if you take that at Chat Tech, that will transfer to KSU or Georgia State or West Georgia or wherever it is that you're wanting to go. So when you take English 1101 at the college, you don't take Brit Lit in the high school. Same thing if you want to do like biology, you can take biology in the college setting and you don't necessarily need to take it in the high school setting. If you want a list, you'll see the list here of the guaranteed classes that will transfer over. So you can later on when you're reviewing this website, you can click into that and then you can see the 28 classes that are available for you to take at Chat Tech that will transfer over to any of your 4-year colleges. Okay, so how do you get started? The first thing you have to do is go to sprayberrycounseling.com. When you get to our website, there's a tab across the top that says dual enrollment. You're going to click on that dual enrollment link. I'm going to show you some screenshots of what that looks like in just a minute. You are required to complete all the steps. Once you complete the steps, the paperwork will automatically be sent to me. And once I get the paperwork and I review it and I see that it's completed correctly, then I will reach out to you and we will schedule your meeting for your student advisement meeting so we can go over exactly what you want to take in college and figure out like what your schedule is going to look like. Before you can do any of this, you have to understand you have to have completed Algebra 2 or Advanced Algebra and American Lit. If you're currently taking those classes, and let's say you're a junior and you want to participate in dual enrollment next semester, that is fine because you're currently in Algebra or Advanced Algebra or American Lit. And that means at the end of the semester, those classes will be done and you qualify for dual enrollment for the next semester. And once again, just remember that there are deadlines for all the different steps in dual enrollment. Okay, so when you go to our website, you're going to see the Sprayberry Counseling, and right here you see dual enrollment. If you click on it, it's going to take you to the next step where it says step 1, step 2, and step 3. You will start by clicking step 1. When you get there, you're going to hover over the college of interest and you're going to double click that college. When you do that, let's say you do it for Chat Tech, the steps to apply to Chat Tech are going to populate. I have literally written all of your steps completely out for you. If your student cannot follow these steps, your student may not be ready for dual enrollment. So it's literally 3 pages of steps, because not only do I help you with what Cobb County expects, I also help you with what Chat Tech will expect and what KSU will expect. So please be sure you read that carefully, literally check it off as you're going through. Okay, and next are the deadline dates. When you click into the step, I want you to literally pull out your phone and I want you to mark on your calendar the various deadline dates. When you actually go to the site, you'll see more dates listed than what I'm showing you right here on this step. Then step 3. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to click on the dual enrollment reminders. When you click it, it's a Word document that's going to populate. And it just tells you things to remember, like don't forget that you have to have transportation. Don't forget that you need to complete advanced algebra. Once you read through that, your next step is to watch the video. It's a 15-minute video where I kind of review dual enrollment for you once again. Then as you go down the form, you're going to have the CCSD local school agreement. So this is Cobb County's county level agreement that you have to fill out. So if you double click, it's going to open. It's a fillable document. Fill it out, save it to your desktop, and then your student is going to upload it into the dual enrollment acknowledgement form. If you do not use your Cobb County computer, you will not be able to access this form. I've already received a number of emails where they're like, I can't get into this form. It says I don't have rights. If you don't have rights, you're not in the Cobb County 365 account. Your student needs to be on their computer in their account to be able to do this. Once they go into this acknowledgement form, they're going to acknowledge everything. The parent will acknowledge that they understand the information. You will, under number 26, upload this form into this document. Once that happens, it'll come to me. I'll review it, make sure it's done correctly. If it's not, I'll email you and let you know that it's not correct. Then your next step is you have to finish your dual enrollment funding. For the high school to pay at the college level, you have to upload funding. So basically what you're going to have to, parents will put their information in, students will put their information in. Then once we develop a schedule, I will upload the schedule into the funding application, and that's how we pay for your classes. Okay, so next we're going to talk about Naviance, and that's going to be Miss Jordan, who's going to talk a little bit about that. Miss Jordan, did I lose her, Miss Ponticelli? Okay, I'm going to keep going since I can't find Miss Jordan.
I could actually be the one if you guys would like to talk about Naviance for you.
Okay, go right ahead.
So this is going to be super important for our seniors, but it is also very important for all of our grade levels because everybody will be doing something in Naviance this year. Naviance is not the application system. I want to make that very clear. Naviance is not an application. Yes?
Okay.
And let's try this again. Okay. So again, there are multiple uses for Naviance. Again, not an application system, but you can research colleges on here. You can research different careers on here. There are some very interesting self-discovery questionnaires. So a lot of that is what students will do with us in the counseling department, is doing questionnaires that will help match them with information for colleges and careers that are good fits for them in the future. They will also be able to look through scholarships on Naviance, but we also have some other financial support that we can help with outside of this program. For students to log into Naviance, they need to use their Cobb County device, and they go to www.cobbk12.org. The www is very important for some reason. Sometimes the county system does not want to cooperate. You will click Find It Fast on the top right corner, and then you will click Naviance. Students can also access this through Clever, just in case they want to use their Clever app. This is what the Naviance homepage looks like. So each student will be able to see their information on here. This part that says future planning, depending on what path they select, it will give them different information. So there's a path for four-year colleges. There's also a path for the military. So it gives a variety of options that will then help pull information for our students to see. We ask for all of our students to update their email address in Naviance because this is created with their Cobb County email. And unfortunately, that doesn't actually receive any of the information that we send out through Naviance because it cannot go through to the Cobb K-12 email. But it's very simple for students to update this. All they need to do is go into About Me, they click My Account, and then they can edit their email address. We ask for them to do this so that they are able to see if we give out information like our newsletters or sending information about certain scholarships that might be available. But all of those will be communicated through Naviance, as well as hopefully also through our CTLS for our students to be kept informed. A huge thing is our college visits, and this is available in Naviance under the colleges section. The visit started this week. On Tuesday, we had a lovely visit from Georgia Tech, where we had a ton of kids available and in the cafeteria to receive information from them. We actually have another one coming tomorrow with the University of Georgia. All of our sessions will be held in the cafeteria on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and there's a 10 a.m. slot and a 2:15 slot. So there's a potential for students to, if each of those slots is filled, see 4 different colleges that will come to Sprayberry and speak to all of our students about their information with the college, what it means to apply to them, the types of majors or scholarships that are available to them, as well as any sort of, extra special things that those colleges can offer our kids. So these are great opportunities for our students to learn more about what they might want to do. And these are open to both 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th graders. So we encourage all of our kids to start thinking about this. But in order to register, because you must register, you will go to your Naviance account. You click on the colleges tab at the top where you will then see college visits. And then you will click over here where it says the register now. Students will register for that. And then we ask for them to take a screenshot of this so that you are able to use that as your pass out of class to go and show that you did register and your teacher will allow you to go to the college visit. Miss Jordan, are you back and ready to go for Common App?
So I think she's having some technical difficulties, so I'll go from here if that's okay with you.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we're going to talk about Common App. So what is Common App? Let me take control. Request. Okay.
Yes, I am
Oh, there you
here.
go. Okay.
Let's
Having some technical difficulties.
Okay, let's get going. So the Common App, what is it? The Common App is the undergraduate college admission application, and it's used by over 1,000 member colleges and universities, y'all. It's really a one-stop shop, given that the student creates a profile, and from that profile, again, they're able to apply to multiple universities. Seniors will choose whether Common App or direct to institution from their Naviance account. So again, everything is matched. And so in that matching, things just work in tandem, and it's really, really, really convenient for our students to knock out multiple tasks with just one platform. Not all colleges or universities are on the Common App though. So please keep that in mind. And again, know that a student will have to select either Common App or direct to institution, depending on how that university accepts their undergraduate admissions. Either way, whether it's through the Common App or direct to institution, your counselors only use Naviance to send materials. So that's not, ooh, just send an email to this address or anything along those lines. Everything is electronic, and it's, again, handled by way of Naviance. So senior specific information, again, just because we are hitting all the grade levels tonight, we do want to point out that our senior classroom lessons are posted online. So we've got part 1 and part 2. Each one is about 25 minutes. So it'll take you just under an hour to go through each presentation, but I cannot stress it enough that the information that you need is there. Okay. Please watch both videos in their entirety, and a lot of your questions will be answered in doing so. So let's talk about post-secondary testing for a minute. There's quite a few exams that all serve different purposes. So we'll start off with just talking about the SAT and the ACT. So those 2 exams are the most common used for post-secondary admissions. So whether you're applying to UGA, Georgia State, Howard, Southern, Savannah State, whatever school it may be, a lot, if not all of those 4-year institutions, will require an SAT or ACT score. It does not matter which exam your student takes, as long as they take at least one and have a score that fits that criteria for admission. The web links are listed there for you. The school does not provide SAT or ACT like exams, so to speak. Like, you have to go to those respective websites to register. Now, is Sprayberry a testing center for the SAT? Yes. So as long as we have seats, your student can test at Sprayberry. Whereas the ACT, we are not a testing site, so your student will need to test at a nearby high school to lock that in. The AccuPlacer, this is a placement exam, so it's not necessarily used for admission purposes, but again, used for placement, again, for our technical colleges. So that's Chat Tech, Gwinnett Tech, any of those technical schools will have the student take the AccuPlacer, and that exam is actually administered on that college campus. So it's really convenient in that the student simply goes to that college campus to take that placement exam, and then will pick their classes from there. And then there's the ASVAB. So the ASVAB is used for our military branches. So we actually at Sprayberry offer the ASVAB, and your student can look to take that in October. If I'm not mistaken, all juniors will take the ASVAB. And again, it's just a skills test, which is nice, just because a lot of students don't really know what they're naturally good at. And so that exam, the ASVAB, again, will provide that information. But please make sure you check with the respective post-secondary option of choice to determine which exam you need to sit for. Okay, because each college has a different testing requirement. So you've got to do your research to really determine what the need is that you have as an applicant. So again, speaking of testing, so the PSAT/NMSQT, which means National Merit Scholarship Qualifying Test. So practice SAT is what it is, simply put. And so we at Sprayberry offer that exam to every single 10th grade student automatically. There's no cost associated with it. So if any day your student is not at school, please don't make it Tuesday, October 22nd. It's a really good exam for your student to take to see where they land. Like I said, it's practice for the SAT. We do offer it to 9th grade students and 11th grade students for just a nominal fee if they choose to participate. We encourage a lot of our juniors to take the exam because, again, that is the qualifying test for the National Merit Scholarship. So a little $13 investment to win a whole bunch of money should your student qualify is pretty much a really good ROI there. Please know that, again, for those 9th graders and 11th graders who want to test, you must register. And that link is found on our Sprayberry High School website. So head on over there, pay through My Payments Plus, and your 9th or 11th grader could be registered. Please note, this exam is going to be administered digitally this year. So that means students must bring their CCSD issued laptop to take the exam. So kind of like what Dr. White was speaking to when she talked about the forms that needed to be submitted for dual enrollment. Again, that can only be done on a Cobb County issued laptop. Same with the PSAT exam. Your student must have his or her CCSD laptop in order to take the assessment. And should you have any questions, again, all of this is posted online, so you can find the information very quickly, very easily. But you could also reach out to one of our assistant principals, Miss Tanya Polk. Again, should you have any other questions beyond this. So let's talk about fee waiver exams. So understandably, those exams cost, being the SAT, ACT, even the AccuPlacer. AccuPlacer is the cheapest of the bunch. And again, those finances can be handled at the college. But for the SAT and ACT, fee waivers are available for qualifying students. And in order to qualify, the student must be a recipient of free or reduced lunch for this school year, being 24-25. And in that, there's 2 SAT waivers and up to 4 ACT waivers. So students can actually submit for that SAT waiver on their own. So by going through the College Board website, the student can request those SAT waivers. For the ACT waiver, the student will need to stop by the counseling office to receive that from Miss Jenkins. And you will be asked for a CEEB code. And so just kind of like your student ID number, it'll be important that the student remembers what the Sprayberry High School CEEB code is, and that's just 112005. So financial aid, I'm going to pass it over to Dr. White right now, and she'll go ahead and talk to you about all things financial aid.
Okay, guys, let's talk about the money because I know getting ready for college can be very expensive and can be a little overwhelming. Let me see if I can. Okay, oops, let's go back. Okay, so when you're planning for financial aid, obviously you need to look at the college because every college has a different cost and it's not just the tuition. Some colleges will require that their students live on campus and that they have a meal plan. So you need to take that into consideration when you're like determining what college your student is going to go to. Then you need to like calculate how much everything is going to cost. You know, you're going to have to figure out, estimate what you guys are going to be able to contribute. When you fill out the FAFSA, a lot of that information, they'll tell you what the expected family contribution is going to be. So then that gives you an idea of what the government says you're going to need to pay to be able to go to school. Specifically, like if you're in a Georgia school and you're using the Hope or the Zell Miller, that'll make it a little bit easier for you to figure that out because you'll know how much Hope is paying or how much Zell Miller is paying. Another way that's going to be really important for planning for your financial future when it comes to college is looking for grants and scholarships. You'll be able to find some of these grants and scholarships in the Navance account. So when you're doing like the searches in the college, they'll have a place in there that says like national scholarships and then local scholarships. So you'll want to look at both of those. Now, the FAFSA is something you guys have heard of before. Basically, it is the federal application for federal student aid. It's actually the free application for federal student aid, but they call it FAFSA for short. You're going to get a FAFSA ID. So you'll go into this website. They'll make you come up with like a username and password, and then they will allow you to go in and start your FAFSA. They're not allowing it before October 1st. Last year, that date was pushed back, so that might happen again. We don't quite know yet. But if you are looking for the Pell Grant or you're wanting some like government type of loans, you'll want to fill out the FAFSA. New this year, they have the Georgia Student Finance application that you can fill out instead of doing the FAFSA. So if you know that you do not qualify for like the Pell Grant, which basically is like a needs, like a monetary needs, like you only make a certain amount of money and it's under the threshold that the government said will give you additional money, that's the Pell Grant. You would need to fill out the FAFSA for that. But if you know you don't qualify for that and you're just looking for the Hope or the Zell Miller, then it's okay just to fill out this new Georgia Student Finance application. And they say it's super easy to fill out and pretty quick. So if you have questions, you can reach out to your individual counselor for that, but a lot of it will be answered online. And if necessary, we can help you reach out to Georgia Student Finance or to the FAFSA people. Okay, so I'm all about saving money. So I want you guys to listen because I know a lot of people are like, oh, I have to go to a 4-year college right away. You don't, because it doesn't really matter if you started a school like Gwinnett Tech or Chat Tech. Remember when I was talking about dual enrollment and I said that you can take like up to 28 different classes that will transfer as is from from the technical college over to your 4-year college. Well, let's say you decided you didn't want to do dual enrollment, so you don't have any college credit starting college. Chat Tech for 1 credit hour is $107. So basically one class, most of the classes are about 3 credits, would cost you about $321. So if you take 5 classes, which is an average number of classes for a freshman for the first semester to take, it's going to cost you about $1,600. And then they have the fees. So you're looking at around $2,091. Then you look at your local 4-year college, and I'm just using KSU, for example. Now, listen, if you want to go straight to a 4-year college, I'm all for it. But if you're trying to get the most bang for your buck, you can go for 1 year to a technical school or 2 years to the technical school, switch those credits over and spend your last 2 years at a 4-year college and save yourself a considerable amount of money. Now, KSU is local to us, so students can live at home. But if you decide to go to like Georgia Southern, they're going to request that your student lives on campus. So not only are you paying more per credit hour, but you're also paying for room and board, which can cost anywhere. I mean, you're seeing it from $20,000 to $35,000 a year, some places even a semester. So please take that into consideration when you're looking at the colleges. If you need help in that area and you're like, I don't really know how to plan my first year to be able to move forward to go from Chat Tech over to KSU, you can reach out to me directly. The other counselors will send you straight to me. And because I do dual enrollment, I'm pretty well versed in what the colleges are looking for, and I'll be able to guide you in that area. Okay, I had mentioned before with dual enrollment about the basic classes that can switch over. Here's the transfer agreement. So if you click into here, you're going to see the exact classes that will transfer from your tech colleges over to your 4-year colleges. When we look at KSU, so for example, every student, I don't care where you are in Georgia, you're going to take English 1101 and English 1102. You can take these classes at Chat Tech for a fraction of the cost of what it's going to cost you at a 4-year college. Other examples are like your math class, history class, political science, and so forth. When you're also looking for money, you need to look for scholarship money. Scholarships, it is nothing but a numbers game. The more you fill out, the more likely you're going to get the money. If you fill out 3, you're going to get 0. If you fill out 30, you may get 3. But look at it like this. Make that your kid's part-time job, especially coming off their junior year into their senior year. Every day, if they fill out 1, by the end of the year, they're going to have 300 and some scholarships that they filled out. If they only get 20 and they're $1,000 a piece, that's a lot of money. And that's money that goes directly into like either like a credit card for the student or goes to the college, depending on what kind of scholarship that they were awarded. These are your big sites to go to. So you got bigfutures.org. Of course, Naviance will be uploading and the county will upload new scholarships. gafutures.org. But this new one, Going Merry, if your student goes in there, they set up an account, they say they're a Sprayberry student, there are literally thousands and thousands of scholarships. I would encourage you to have your kid make an Excel spreadsheet, write down the name of the scholarship, when they applied, how much it's worth, when they'll find out if they get it, and just every single day keep adding to that. And when you go into the Going Merry platform, don't start at the first scholarship. Scroll down a little bit so that everybody's going to start at the beginning. So if you start in the middle or the end, you're going to have more of a chance of getting those other scholarships because most people aren't going to keep scrolling through. So just something to consider when you're trying to figure out how you're going to get money to pay for going to school. Okay, NCAA eligibility. If you are if you're interested in playing in college, playing the different sports, you need to go in and you need to register with NCAA, and you need to do this by the end of your junior year. So the registration fee is $90, and there's 2 types of accounts, the certification account and the profile account, depending on the division that you're interested in playing for. Just remember that it is your responsibility to go ahead and get that set up, and then you have to request that a transcript be sent to NCAA. That each transcript that you send is going to cost $2. Even though we're sending it electronically, you're going to have to come in and fill out your transcript card to make that request. If you are playing in high school, so first year kids, all your ninth graders are eligible to play sports. But by the second semester, they have to have at least 2.5 Carnegie units to be able to continue to play sports. When they're in their second year, they have to have accumulated 5 Carnegie units, and they have to be passing their courses to be able to continue playing sports. Once that the student is eligible, like once they accumulate the units for participating, they're eligible and they can be reinstated for that next semester if they lose their eligibility. If you have questions about the athletics, you need to reach out to the administrator, Nathan Autry, and he will be able to answer those questions for you. Okay. So we're at the end of our presentation, and I know we gave you guys a lot of information. So I believe that we have the Q&A. Ms. Ponticelli, is that working?
Yes, so I have been responding to some of them as they came in. I actually just published another question that I'm going to respond to out loud, and then I will review the others. We just had a question. Oh, where'd it go? That was, can scholarship money be used for housing and food plans? That's a great question, and it depends on the scholarship. So if we're talking about the Hope Scholarship, that's specific for only tuition. But other scholarships, like if you apply to one from Going Merry that Dr. White just mentioned, that should be allowed to be used for anything related to school, because it should not have a stipulation like how the Hope Scholarship is just for tuition. But when you are reading the scholarships that you are applying to, they will tell you how the money will be sent to you, because some scholarships will be sent kind of like a check where they'll write it to you and you can then use that for whatever you choose. Or sometimes they get sent directly to the university that you are going to, in which case then those are typically used for tuition, possibly for like housing or something, but they will give you specifics for what that money is able to be used for. In our previous questions, we had a question about, does the grade matter for rigor requirements for the Hope Scholarship? Technically, like, I'll say yes and no, because the student obviously must pass that class in order for it to count towards their rigor requirements. So you do have to pass it. And then of that grade, it does go into your Hope GPA. So if your grade ends up being a C or a D, please remember that that could then bring your Hope GPA total down for your eligibility. So just remember, for Hope Scholarship, you're really trying to get all those A's and B's so that you can maintain that eligibility. Then another previous question was, what is the difference between Naviance and Georgia Futures? Naviance, again, is a research tool and a document portal for us, whereas Georgia Futures is a third-party website from the Georgia Student Finance Commission, where you can find information about the Hope Scholarship, dual enrollment, some other financial aid support, but that is for Georgia Student Finance Commission to give out their information, and Naviance is an internal tool for Cobb County students to use as the document portal that we send everything through. Let me just make sure if we got any other questions in here. We have another question that says, so the Hope Scholarship does not pay for room and board. Correct. It is only for tuition. Are you able to apply for multiple scholarships with FAFSA? So, Dr. White, maybe you can help kind of explain this, but the FAFSA it's an application, but it is not necessarily like applying to, 100 scholarships or anything like that. It's a very specific thing looking for federal money and grants.
Right. So the FAFSA, when you're filling that out, you're basically telling the government, or you're asking the government, how much money are you willing to give me to help me get through school? And they're going to look at your parents' financial situation, the one who files taxes on you, and that's how they're going to make that determination. So when you're filling out regular scholarships, that's different than the FAFSA. The FAFSA is you're looking for the federal government to try to help you with paying for college.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Another FAFSA question is, when should you start filling out FAFSA as a senior? Historically, The date always was October 1st when they released the application for the current senior class. Last year, when they revamped the process, it did not open until December 31st. We are hoping that it is back to October 1st, but we have actually not been given that official date yet. As long as whenever the date is, we will be sharing that with you. For right now, though, keep in your mind that October 1st date, because that should be back to normal, where they're going back to that as the opening for FAFSA. There's another question about, is there some SAT tutoring? The school does not offer SAT tutoring, but we do have programs, through Apple Ruth or East Cobb Tutoring. There are some others that are available in the area. If you want a physical location, you can also do some SAT tutoring online through College Board or the Khan Academy website. Both of those are really good resources to help supplement for practice tests and practice questions for our students. We really appreciate all of you sticking with us through our technical difficulties. We did have to switch this to a virtual event as the projector in the theater does not currently work right now. So you would not have been able to see any of our great PowerPoint information. But for those who have stuck around, remember, we will be reposting this with the recording and kind of cleaning it up for you guys. So you can always revisit it or share it with anybody who was not able to attend. And we will make sure that we send out those details for when the recording is available. Thank you all again so much for attending with us, and we really appreciate you sticking through our lovely construction year and our technical year as we go through our changes for this for Sprayberry. Thank you, everybody.